Hey, welcome to Maximum Bat Speed. I want to do a video here of this young lady here. This was an online video analysis. Those of you who follow my channel know I do online video analysis. I would love to work with you. I work from youth all the way to professional players. I've worked with college teams. I've worked with just an array of different players, again, from youth to professional, and I would love to work with you. Just get a hold of me at maximumbatspeed@gmail.com. My goal is always to help you to get your swing to an elite level. Now, what I did here, this was done a few weeks ago where the client sent me a video. Again, this is an online video analysis, and on the left was the before video. And what I did was I analyzed the swing and I put her next to an elite player. And this is her side by side before and after. But what I would do is, so you would have an elite player on the right hand side, and I would go through the whole swing piece by piece, from the setup all the way to the full extension, explaining everything. Okay. Now, what I did with her in this particular video, I did a full analysis, but I only wanted her to focus pretty much at this time right now. It's just making sure she fixes her setup correctly and that she gets her gather correctly with her weight transfer. Okay, I just wanted her to send me a video to follow up with her, making sure that everything I asked her to do, she was doing it correctly. Because a lot of times what happens, players will do that. They'll send me something and I'll say, no, you're doing it incorrectly. So that's why I always have them send me a follow-up immediately once they think they're ready or they're doing it correctly. That way I make sure that they're doing it correctly so they continue to move on and progress in the manner in which I need them to. Okay, so here we have the setup. And what I did in this particular video, I told her when she first brought this to me that she was a little bit too upright with her legs. Okay. Normally what you want to see is you want to have a little bit of a gap right here like this with your legs, so that if you go straight down, you're going to have a little gap down at the knees. Okay. So, and another thing I told her was that her hands and her arms right now were a little bit too far left. You can see here that her hands are too far close to the catcher. Okay. And then what this does right here, and players don't realize they're doing this, but this actually starts to tense up the upper body when you start moving your arms too far over closer to the catcher area. Okay. This is very, very common. So you can see here that her arms are already pretty extended here with her left arm. Okay. And I told her what I wanted her to do is just to relax a little bit. Her bat right here was a little bit too tilted. Again, this also creates a little bit of tension in the arms. In the setup, you really want to be just very relaxed. You want to be set up correctly so your body can work very efficiently as you continue to move on. Okay. So on the right hand side, what I told her, and again, she was next to an elite player. Now she's doing everything I asked her to do very, very well. Again, this is after she working on this for a couple weeks and sending me the video and me telling her, okay, great, now it's time to move on to something else. Okay. So what I told her to do was, let's get the hands a little bit closer where they're a little bit more over closer between the neck and the deltoid. I told her to put her bat a little bit more vertical. This will relax her hands. It will allow her to use her wrists much better as she starts to transfer her weight. And you can see here, it's very obvious that on the right hand side, the after, that her arms, she has a lot of flexion right here. She looks very relaxed. Okay. Another thing you can tell with her legs, I told her she just had to get her stance, her setup a little bit wider. Okay. And you can see here, if I go straight down like this, that now there's a gap down here by her leg. Okay. Where here, if she goes straight down, there is no gap between the ankle and the knee going down. Okay. So this will allow her to have a more resistance as she's getting back into her backswing. Okay. As she starts to get into the gather, she's going to have much easier opportunity for her to transfer her weight. So right now her weight is more inside the inner thigh, inner ankle, and instep of the back foot. Okay. And she has beautiful angles in the back leg. Now, one thing to take note of this is this. Okay. You can see how she is on the right hand side. Okay. For a lot of players, this would not be enough for her to have this kind of angle here. So a lot of times with players who tend to move back way too much, okay, you're going to see in a little bit what I'm talking about. I would have her get even a little wider. Okay. This would allow her to have even more resistance. resistance, okay? Because the more wide you are, the better it is for you to have resistance so your body can have kind of like a wedge so your body does not move backwards, okay? And I'll get into that in a little bit here. So anyway, what I told her to do is just make these minor adjustments, okay? So basically what I told her to do is get her hands from here to here, okay? I told her to just widen her stance just a little bit, and I told her to get her back just a little bit more vertical. Now from here, what I did was I told her, okay, now let's start to get into the gather. Now pay attention to what's going on. And this video is synced up almost perfectly. So when the pitch is coming in, they're gonna get the point of contact at the same time. So watch what's going on here on the left, that you can see here, and you can see here how she's just moving back, moving back, moving back, moving back, moving back, moving back. So right here, she's at the apex of the gather, okay? And you can see it's pretty obvious that she moved back quite a bit. So I'll bring this back to you again like this. Watch her on the left. You can see how she starts to move back, move back, move back. So she's moving back quite a bit. Okay, this for me as a coach, I don't like to see this much movement, because what happens is it creates timing issues. It creates a lot of other issues in your swing. And you want to minimize all that so that your body works very efficiently, so that when you're set up at the gather, basically what you're doing at the gather is just gathering yourself so your body can get ready to get loaded up as you transfer your weight. So that's what I was basically trying to have her do. So you can see here again on the left-hand side, you can see as she starts to go, look at her hands and her arms again. She's going back, and as she's getting into her gather, she's already loading up right here. So she's at the apex of the gather on the left, and she's on the apex of the gather on the right. Now, if you look at the difference, what's going on here at the apex of the gather right here, she has her shoulders that are already pretty close right here. Okay, this is pretty much what you would see at toe touch, okay? Her back elbow is up. Okay, and another thing that's going on right here, her hands are right here, where if you go straight down, she's getting into an overload, way overload, where her hands are several inches behind her back foot. Okay, another thing that's going on right here, you can see her back elbow is right here. And again, her hands are right here. This is kind of opposite of what you would want to see at the apex of the gather. Another thing is you can see that her bat at this stage of the swing has been tilted too much, almost like what you would see at toe touch. And also too, because her stance was too narrow, you can see that she still has remained where her knee is pretty much over her back foot, okay? Now, if we go on the right-hand side, and the adjustments she made were beautiful. You can see here that her hands right here are perfectly right over at the apex of the gather, right over the front of her foot right here. This is just beautiful job that she did right here of just simplifying her swing. Another thing you can see, is very obvious. You can see that her back elbow is right here, and you can see her hands are in front of her back elbow. And you can see here that at the apex of the gather, and this is exactly what you should see, you should still see a lot of flexion where the body is just kind of just moving back, and the bat should be at this angle like this, either vertical or right here is fine. If it starts to get too much like this, that creates problems with how a player uses the wrist, therefore depriving them of additional power as they get along. Now also too, you can see here what's going on with the back leg. The angles right here are beautiful right here. You can see there's a big difference right here between the legs on the left and the legs on the right. It's just a lot more athletic look on the right, more dynamic, and it looks just like she's ready to explode, okay? So again, if we look at this and we back this up, we saw what was going on the left. Watch the simplicity of everything that's going on the right-hand side. And again, these swings are synced up. And you can see here as she's setting up, she's just very relaxed, very relaxed. Look at that. She's moving a lot on the left, but right here, watch how quiet and how simple the body is moving on the right-hand side. Now, this is crucial because if any of you out there are planning on playing at a very high level, at an elite level, if you're facing competition where the pitchers are very elite, you want to simplify your gather. You want to simplify the movement of everything in your swing in order for you not to be wasting any additional frames in your swing. So you can see again on the right how simplistic her swing looks. She's just basically just moving right here at the apex of the gather, and look at the difference between the left and the right, okay? Now another thing that she's doing here as she got into this, because she simplified everything. Now, if we look on the left-hand side, okay, watch what's going on right here. Now, when we put her hands right here, this is right there where the knob is, okay? And watch what's going on. And you can see how her body on the left, as she starts to get into her toe touch, you can see here, she gets into her toe touch, how much her hands have traveled from there to there, okay? And you can also see, because she didn't use her body correctly at the setup and at the gather, if we go down, her hands are still behind her back foot. And this also, again, creates a lot of problems in the swing, okay? Now, as she gets into toe touch too, because she wasn't using her setup and the gather correctly, you can see here with her shoulders at toe touch, now they're at an angle like this. And you can also see that her elbow has dropped down here, even more so. And the problem that you have with that is she's leaking her load because her sequence wasn't correct, okay? And another thing that's going on is, as she strides, she's only about, I say about 40 something, 50% of her height right here, okay? Now, if we look on the right-hand side, okay, watch what's going on right here on the right-hand side. As we get into this again, and I'll just go ahead and put this at the pretty much at the apex of the gather. I'll put her hands right here where they were, again, right here where she started. And then as she starts to move forward, watch how she walks away from the hands as she transfers her weight beautifully right here. And as she gets into her toe touch right about right here, you can see here the difference between the left and the right. So in other words, on the right, what she did was she walked away from the hands, and you can see the difference because of everything that she's changed. Now her back shoulder is higher than the front one at the same stage, and her back elbow is a little bit higher. Now she's going to continue to work on this, and she's going to continue to work on everything else that I did on the analysis. But for now, again, all I wanted her to do is give me an indicator of what she was doing, if she was applying the drills correctly that I asked her to do. And you can see here, as she's striding right here, she has gained even some more width in her stance. You see the difference between the left and the right. Now, this might not seem very significant to some people, but trust me, it really is significant. Another thing that's going on right here, because of the pullback and the resistance and everything working correctly, you can see now that her hands are beautifully right over the shoelace area. Now, if you look at the difference between the left and the right, okay, what happened on the left is we saw her hands were way back here at the gather. She carried her hands with her, okay? She lost some of her load right here, and her hands ended up still behind her back foot, and she landed very narrow as she was getting into her toe touch, okay? Over here, you can see very obvious as she gained some distance with her stride. I told her to get about 60% of her height. She looks much more athletic. Her back shoulder is higher than the front one. And also too, you can see here, the angles of her lead arm right here is very nice right here. Slight flexion right here. She has it almost ramrod straight. And when you do this, it creates a lot of other problems with your swing and having a short, compact swing. Now, as she got into her toe touch right here, watch what's going on right here on the left, okay? As she starts to swing, you can see how wide her swing is, okay? In other words, you can see the different distance between her bat and her back shoulder right here is pretty wide, okay? Over here, you see her back shoulder right here, and you see the bat right here. And this is exactly what I talk about all the time. When you are getting into your heel plant, you want the hands to start working around the corner of the deltoid to give you a very nice compact swing, and therefore also allowing you to have more bat speed behind you, okay, in the proper way, not in an improper way, but in the proper way. Now, you can also see here, because of everything that the changes that she's made. Watch her bat path right here as she starts to go in her hand path. You can see right now that her hands at this stage of the swing, they dropped so much because of everything she was doing. Her hands are here and her back shoulder is here. Now you can see in this one right here, her hands are here and they're right there, right next to her shoulder. Again, this is what you see in elite players. This is what you should be doing if you are applying the proper setup, the proper sequence. Now, as we go further here and we go one more frame here, watch what's going on right here. As she starts to swing, you can see that her hands right now, they've even dropped even more so. This was, she was doing pretty typically before. Her hands dropped a lot. Her arm was pinned against her chest like this, therefore creating a lot of problems with her swing and not allowing her to maximize her full potential in her swing. Now, if we look here on the right-hand side, watch what's going on with her bat path right here. As she starts to swing, you can see how even immediately, like I always bring up in my videos, let the lead elbow work up to the height of the mouth so you can hit to and through the ball. Now, you can see here, it's very obvious as we look at these two side by sides, okay, the before and after. On the before, her elbow is right here, her forearm is right here, and her mouth, the height of her mouth is right here. So her lead elbow right now is down here, okay? And if you guys watch my videos, you should hear me say this over and over, let the lead elbow work up to the height of the mouth. Now, if we look at right here, what's going on right there, watch how the lead elbow starts to work up to the side of the mouth. She has this beautiful hitter's box right here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful job of creating this beautiful hitter's box where the bat now is lagging beautifully behind her hands. Therefore, it's going to allow her to use her wrists, her upper body, her legs much more powerfully so she can hit the ball with the bat squaring it up so she hits more line drives instead of flipping through the ball. Now, as we go a little further here, watch what's going on right here. As she starts to hit the ball, and we're going to just see this right here, and I'll just back this up a little bit so you can kind of get a better idea what's going on with the ball. And this was pretty much consistently what she was doing on the left when she first sent me the video. A lot of the balls she was hitting were kind of flicking. You see how the ball went straight up? That would probably have been an inside infield pop-up right here. But you see what's going on with her hands right here? So in other words, what's going on right here is just for the mechanical aspect of it. Her arms are down like this. Her bat is already flipping through the ball. Okay, she's flipping with her right hand. On this one right here, she has a lead elbow working up to the height of the mouth. She has her forearm right here, and she's hitting the ball more in a squaring it up. Now, if you look on the right, watch what's going on with the right when she hits this ball. See how the ball takes off? You can see it. Now, this right here, this is beautiful trajectory right here. This is going to give you some distance. It's going to give you an opportunity for home runs, line drives, where this trajectory right here is going to give you a lot of pop-ups and, again, foul balls and things like that. So, again, when you set up, when you have the proper setup, okay, it all starts from right over here. And this is just the way the mechanics work. If you work with a coach and you know if he knows what he's talking or what she's talking about, she'll probably tell you exactly the same thing I'm telling you, that you really need to set up correctly. And then from there, the good setup is going to lead to a good gather, just like you see on the right. Watch how simple it is. And from there, you can transfer your weight, where you can just transfer the weight, leave the hands there. You get these beautiful angles like she's doing over here on the right. Okay, and then from there, because of everything's working a lot better, you can see here how the hand path, the beautiful hand path compared to the left, she's just done a beautiful job of making these adjustments just in a matter of a couple of weeks, okay? And again, this is not even the full analysis. There's a lot of things I talked about. It took like an hour for me to do the analysis for her to cover everything, and I told her, keep this analysis as an archive for you to continue to reference back to it. You'll always have it for you to continue to build your swing at a higher elite level, and she can have it. And that's what I do. I give you your analysis is yours, and you can work for it, like look through it and just fix anything you need to fix, because I get into great detail regarding your personal flaws. Okay, now again, as you go here, you can see here the difference on what's going on with the swing here. And you can just see, again, just what a beautiful job she did. And again, and just in a nutshell, again, when we set up, you want to be nice and relaxed. You want to have minimal movement. You want to make sure you're using your arms correctly, the bat correctly. You want to set up correctly with the lower body. You want to make sure that your hands and arms aren't moving too much. You want to make sure that as you transfer your weight, you have everything in the proper sequence, so that as you start to swing right here, you're going to see that the pullback is going to be maximized. You're going to have an opportunity for you to be able to use your body much more correctly. And again, you can see here, it's very obvious here as she got into heel plant, you can see the difference where her shoulders were kind of like this. And this one right here, look at the power you're going to get from being this much more closed, and the difference in how she looks on the left and on the right. Okay, this is the This is what happens when you do everything correctly with the setup, the gather, the sequence. Everything starts to fall into place, with therefore allowing you to have a much better hand path, much more of an elite. Look at that, beautiful right there, just beautiful. And this is only, like, again, after only 2 weeks of she working on this. I'm really excited about the advancements that she's going to probably be making, because she seems just to be very athletic, you know, and I'm really proud of the changes she's made. So anyway, I hope what I shared with you here, give me a like that you liked it. If you like my channel, please subscribe. And I really believe that I can help you to become a better player, just like I'm doing here with this young lady and so many other players that I've worked with throughout the years. And I really just want so much for my students and anyone I work with, just to enjoy the game at a much higher level. And I really do appreciate my clients. Now, again, I'll just go ahead and play this for you in slow motion as I say goodbye to everyone. You can just kind of see what's going on here with their swing. You can just see the difference between the left and the right. See that? Great job right there. All right. Have a great day and God bless.